Sometimes people say to me, "Owen, your life with all responsibilities, how can you possibly stop on one day a week to observe the Sabbath?" And part of my answer is, how could I not stop?
We never needed sacred time more than we needed today. The infrastructure of the family needs to be resurrected.
When I walk out the door for shul, everything in the whole universe seems to come to a halt. I get the feeling that this is what it's all about. This is why I was born. This is the best part of living. The 5-minute walk to shul is 5 minutes in heaven.
The Sabbath is really at the heart of my faith and my theology, because what does the Sabbath say? It says that no matter how busy we are, even no matter how important the things are we're doing, that what is more important is to stop and express our gratitude to God for the creation. That's what the day is about.
When I grow up, I wouldn't want anything more than to keep Shabbat. If anything, I would want to become more religious, more happy, because I believe that Shabbat brings happiness into the family. It brings warmth, protection, everything.
I feel proud to be a Jew while walking and everybody else is in cars and they're driving by and they're looking at us saying, why are these people in such nice clothing? And then they look at us and they see we're going to shul and they see that us Jews that are religious have a feeling and we're proud to be Jews.
Joseph always wants to do his own Kiddush next to David. He learns from his father to do Kiddush, and he has to hold the cup the same way. And you know he's going to be doing that forever, to do that way from his father.
When we were in Auschwitz, we had to work on Shabbos, but we did say our prayers as much as we could. There was always older women who would tell us about Shabbos, what we have to do and what girls should learn to do.
When we talk about 6 days of creation, the 7th day God rested. Regardless of how you interpret that statement, there is still that vital 6 days work, 7th day rest. And apparently it does not mean rest from tiredness, because God doesn't get tired. It's another level of rest. It's entering into another space, a space where one interacts with the universe in a different way. On that day, you remove yourself from certain physical, creative efforts. You remove yourself from influencing the world, and on that day, you enter into a soul-level experience.
It's a day that we were commanded to cease from all activity and rest, and take in the spiritual part of our lives. Enjoy the other part of who we are fully, which is our neshama, our soul.
Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom.
If I didn't have Shabbat, my week would be ruined. First of all, I'd be working day and night on Friday night and Saturday the same way I do during the rest of the week. The Shabbat means I'm a human being, I'm not a slave. To recognize that as a human being, I am created in the image of God, which means that there is something refreshing about being free. Shabbat is that freedom.
Shabbat, 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 Shabbat.
It's the woman that prepares for the Shabbos. She bakes the challah, which is such a holy act. She brings that holiness into this holy food.
When we get to bake challah, it's a very special time for us. I can really imagine that one day she will teach my grandchildren, and my grandchildren their grandchildren. It will be a special family tradition.
It's a time that I spend at home with my mom. My mom taught me how to make different things with challah. Now all my mom's friends come and I teach them how to make challah and their daughters. And I'm very happy to do it because now I know that their grandchildren and their great-great-grandchildren will know how to make challah. And we would be part of such a great mitzvah.
We're alive, we're energetic, we're engaged in the reality of life.
We get up, we get the kids ready, we go to school, and then I'm off to work. It's quite a commitment to maintain everything that we have to do at home, to have a very nice Shabbos every week like a clock. It's a lot of preparation, but the reward is absolutely what we're all looking for.
No matter really what I'm doing on Friday, it gets dropped at 4 o'clock, I'm gone. It's wonderful for my family because my kids know it's Shabbos. In the morning when I leave, I say, Papi's coming home early today, it's Shabbos.
Needless to say, my life is a roller coaster. I'm a very busy person. I work long hours, but my mind is already gearing to Shabbos, the celebrations, the events, the holiness.
Professional life is a very stressful one. Being a lawyer is a difficult job. It's high stress. The space of a Shabbos is a complete detachment from the days of the week.
The husband bringing flowers home for his wife on Shabbos. It's a custom and it's a beautiful one, knowing that my wife has gone out of her way to do so much. I love it. I appreciate everything about her. And so I'm going to bring her some beautiful flowers to enhance the Shabbos.
It brings brightness and life into the home. And it's exciting. You walk in with the flowers, the wife, the children. Everyone gets excited about it.
Women throughout the generations light Shabbos candles. It's our way of welcoming in the Shabbos. Women bring in the Shabbos before the men do. We do so at candlelighting time. The men do so when they recite the Kiddush. As soon as the woman lights the Shabbos candles, she waves her arms 3 times, welcoming in the beautiful Shabbos queen, and recites the special blessing, Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. At that moment, there's a certain peacefulness and serenity.
It's a moment that I feel very close to God. It's a moment that I can ask from Him everything that I want for my children, everything I want for my life, for my husband, for the future. And it's a moment I really think God listens.
The sense of unity that comes with being together with your mother and your daughter at the time of lighting is a very special moment because it brings us all together. We're all women and we're all sharing in this very special moment. And I know when I look at my daughter that she will continue in the tradition of lighting the Shabbos candles.
As we enter into the Shabbos, there is a whole series of psalms from the King David's book of Psalms that talk about the beauty of Shabbos, the eternity of Shabbos. That gives us the moments of preparation as we enter into literally singing and receiving and accepting the Shabbos Queen. Shabbos can be led by a child who just became bar mitzvah, sort of crossed over the threshold into adulthood and leads with his whole passion, and the entire community is with him. They become part of his leadership in that moment. And on the other extreme, you have a seasoned chazan that leads the people. And again, you have someone who's praying as a Sephardic leader of a community, praying and bringing that passion in a Sephardic sense. You have a Chabad rabbi with the passions of Chabad song, and everybody carries with him. And a young American modern Jew who prays in a modern sense. And each one has their style, each one has their feeling, each one has their moment. But each one communicates with God in a direct, personal manner. This is not about singing a song. This is about talking to the Shabbos, talking to holiness. As we walk into the house and see our families and say good Shabbos, the first thing that comes out of our mouths is a song welcoming angels.
The husband is singing a song of praise, Eshet Chayo, a woman of valor. Who can find a wife of excellence? And he lauds the praises of his wife. He looks at her and expresses to her his deep feelings of gratitude and appreciation for everything that she has done, that she has created a warm, beautiful, inviting home for himself and for their children.
She creates the most important space that one has, the environment where one raises their children. It is customary for the father in some environments to bless each of his children and to bless them with all the finest things that one can imagine that one wants for their child. We sanctify the day through making a blessing over the wine. It's customary to fill it over the brim. And we pick up that cup of wine, recognizing the seventh day of Shabbos as being the day that culminated creation when God rested. Recognizing the miracle of Shabbos as the gift that God gave to the Jewish people, as a sign of our connection with Him, of our acceptance of Him.
For thousands of years, they make Kiddush on Shabbat the way that I'm making it. Being able to share that feeling and experience with my family, with my daughter, and with friends is so very special to me. The reason I get up in the morning to go to work, to put food on the table and shelter for my family, it all culminates with the Kiddush that I make on Shabbos.
We wash our hands in a ritual way for the Shabbos bread. And the food for Shabbos is especially blessed in a very special way. That stems all the way back from the time when God gave us the manna in the desert, which represents the two challahs that we have on the Shabbos table. Every day of the week, each person got only one portion of manna. On Shabbos, each person got a double portion, one for Friday and one for Saturday. Part of the custom is singing. Songs that represent each part of the day of Shabbos, songs that represent miracles, songs that represent peacefulness, blessings. It's an incredible array of songs that probably cover every gamut of life's experience that you can imagine.
Even the foods that one prepares for Shabbos are different types of foods. It's a time when the best of foods are served. It's a palace, it's a royal feast for Shabbos.
It's interacting together, singing together, eating together, talking together, going to shul together, and then each one, of course, praying.
That's the element of Yiddishkeit that people need. That's the fulfillment. The reason to do all these things is to fulfill your life in a meaningful way.
One of our big reasons for doing it is the continuity of the Jewish people, and that's really why we want to do it for our family and to give that legacy to our children. That's why I'm very lucky to have my wife, and we do this together, and that's really the only way it can work. That's why I see it being a positive progression for the rest of our lives.
Everything about Shabbos seems different. It's an amazing experience that can't be accurately described in words. It's something that simply has to be lived.
The Sabbath has a salutary effect on our lives. We need those mandated meals where people sit together without the blaring of videotapes and cell phones, to look our spouses and our children in the eyes and say, I love you, I care for you, I want to be with you.
The Shabbat is a symbol that we acknowledge that we are creatures of a Creator who is one, who does want us to behave and conduct ourselves in a manner that's moral, that's spiritual, that's ethical, and that's fulfilling to us as human beings.
We also pray for the strength to do God's work here. I should be constantly grateful, because without the divine act, the world would not exist, I would not exist.
There's a special ceremony called Havdalah, which means separation. There's now a separating from the holy to the mundane. We thank God for the wine with which we've just sanctified this moment. We thank God for the Shabbat, thanking God for the gift of salvation, reassuring ourselves that as we walk into the week, God is with us and will stand by our side through our challenges, our travails, our weekly experiences, as we go out into the week to try to make things work, to try to impact the world in an honest way, in a kosher way, in a holy way.
The older I get, the busier I get, the more important Shabbat is to me.